Hey there, everybody. My name is Michelle Henderson. I'm a therapist in the Seattle, Washington area, and the name of my practice is Next Chapter Counseling. I'm here today to answer a question that I got from someone recently. And they asked me, is it okay if I'm staying in my relationship just for the sake of my children? So, this is a question that I think probably a lot of people have wondered at some point in time. If you are sharing children with somebody and you guys are in a relationship, potentially a long term relationship, and things have shifted between the two of you, things have changed, things aren't what they were, yet you share children together and you have a home together and a family, and facing this decision of, okay, do I give up that because I'm not feeling the romantic connection that I once felt with my partner and our relationship has changed? How much do I let that affect my family? This is a tough spot to be in. And my guess is that there might be a number of people out there who, if they were asked this question by someone of, well, do you think I should stay just because of my kids? I think a lot of people would say, no. You deserve to have like a fulfilling romantic relationship, and it's not worth it to stay in a relationship where you're unhappy just because of your kids. However, before we jump to that conclusion, that again, I think most people would immediately jump to, I think it's really important that we look at both sides of the coin here, so to speak. There are two sides to every story. There's multiple ways to view this situation. So I'm going to share my thoughts of when I think it might be the best decision to not stay in a relationship for your children, and some circumstances where I think if these criteria apply, you may be able to stay and feel like good about the decision that you're making. So that's what I'm going to walk us through today. So, starting with that side where I would say, nope, I really probably don't think you should stay for your kids. It may sound really simplistic, but if you find yourself feeling deeply unhappy and miserable in your day to day life, maybe you found yourself experiencing like depression type symptoms because of how unhealthy or bad the relationship feels between you and your partner, it's starting to really maybe affect other areas of your life. Maybe it's affecting your sleep, your ability to go to work, other relationships that you have with different people, like your friends or your family members, because you're so not yourself and every day just feels like a struggle. And it's because of the relationship that you're in with your partner. If that's what's going on, I would say it's not best to stay for your kids. And the reason is this: kids of all ages, young or older kids who are like, teenagers, kids from a really young age and all throughout childhood and adolescence can really pick up on if a parent is unhappy and not themselves. They feel it, they see it, they know it, and that's going to, of course, create concern for the child. They're going to worry about the parent who's not doing very well. And I'm of the belief that it is far better for children to see two parents who are both happy and healthy, even if they are no longer under the same roof anymore and they've chosen to separate, than to have two parents who are living together, but there's so much unhappiness that's like palpable in the household from one or both of them. That's going to be really unhealthy for your kids in the long term, and it would be a far better situation if you're able to get to a place where you're feeling happier and then to have your kids see that. So if you are in a position where it's really affecting your ability to like live your life, feel good about yourself and other areas of your life because this relationship is so bad, I would consider leaving it. It's not going to do your kids any favors in the long run to stay when you're so unhappy. So that's the biggest reason why I would recommend, get out if you are in that kind of a place. Now, to flip it, to talk about two different times where I think, okay, if both of these boxes are checked and if you decide to stay, okay, go for it if that's what you decide is best for you and for your kids and for your family. So the first box that I would say, okay, we need to check this off, is thinking about your relationship with your partner. So even if that romantic connection between the two of you has gone or is fading, or you're not feeling it anymore, the spark isn't there. If you and your partner are still able to co-parent effectively together, get on the same page with decisions about your children, if you guys are both communicating with one another in a way that's like respectful and kind, even if, again, the spark is gone, and maybe there are some other times where, there's a disconnect between the two of you. But if the communication has not unraveled, if the communication is like still pretty good between the two of you, even if you don't really like each other anymore, but you guys can co-parent, you guys can communicate as like two mature grown adults. It doesn't dissolve into yelling. You guys aren't giving each other the silent treatment for days at a time. Like if the communication piece is there and the co-parenting piece is there, then you guys are likely still modeling for your children like a pretty healthy home environment, if that's going on between the two of you. So that's really important for that to be there in order for, again, this to be something that's beneficial for your children and something that's not taking too much of a toll on you. Good communication with your partner. That's the first box to check. And the second box to check is for you to think about what is of the most priority in your life right now, in a way. So when people have kids, their priorities shift, their priorities change. A common example of that is that, like, someone who maybe for a long time really was like a workaholic and work and career were like number one. Then when they have kids, maybe that takes more of a back seat, and then family life takes over as number one, for example. So, if this next one applies to you, do some soul searching, do some thinking to think if it does. But if it does, then okay, you might be able to stay in this relationship and feel all right. And the criteria that I'm talking about here is if finding a romantic relationship that fulfills you is maybe of a lower priority to you, then staying in this relationship with your current partner might not feel so bad. Believe it or not, there are plenty of people out there that I think, especially when kids come along, kids become very important and family becomes very important. And if you ask them down the line, well, are you really wanting to find a love connection? They may be like, meh, I don't really care. Some people, it's really important. They feel like something is very much missing in their life if they don't have a romantic partner that they are in love with. It doesn't feel good, and they really want to find love. Other people go, you know what? I'm okay if I don't find love. I don't need a romantic partner. I'm good with my friends that I've got, my family that I've got, my job that I've got, my kids that I've got. I'm good. I don't need to go out and find a romantic love interest. It's not worth it to me. Some people do find themselves in that spot. And if you are in that spot, and you decide to stay in the relationship that you've currently got, even if it's not fulfilling romantically, go for it. Again, on the flip side of that, if having romantic love in your life is very important to you, then I wouldn't recommend staying, because you're going to find yourself in that deeply unhappy place sooner rather than later. But if it's true for you that you're like, yeah, romantic love is kind of at the bottom of my to-do list. I got other things to focus on, other things that make me feel good and happy. I don't need a romantic partner. Then staying in your relationship may be for you. So again, I would say both of those boxes need to be checked. First is to make sure that you and your current partner still have good communication between the two of you, even if the chemistry is gone. And the second thing is to be really clear with yourself that you're okay with not having romantic love in your life. All right, both of those things are checked. Maybe staying isn't so bad. If you have a question for me about love or relationships, send me an email, nextchapter.michelle@gmail.com, and I'll be here soon to answer it. All right, thanks everyone.